often. It's been once in 40 years, so he was correct. I don't come to Germany very often, but it's been an amazing visit so far, and I really and truly appreciate you guys being here. He also said that 4 of you sent him a message saying thank you. There were 6 of you there, so you guys didn't send him a message. Thank you. Never ever delay gratitude. Anytime you're appreciative of something, make sure you tell someone. No, I'm really excited to be here. A basketball player's athleticism makes up the foundation of their entire game. And if you guys can picture a pyramid, the wider and broader and more sturdy you can make that foundation, then the higher the potential peak. Which is why the best players in the world are in the best shape and move really, really well. See, if you can get your players just a little quicker, a little faster, a little stronger, a little more explosive, if you can improve their hand-eye coordination and their reaction and their mobility and get them in great basketball shape, then they can perform their skills, shooting, passing, rebounding, defending, and ball handling, they can perform their skills at a much higher level. They can perform their skills with more efficiency, and they can perform their skills for longer before fatigue sets in, which again is why the best players in the world are in the best shape and move really, really well. Now, my #1 goal for what I do is to redefine how players and coaches think of basketball athleticism. Because most especially the kids in the States believe it's just about how fast you run and how high you jump. Let's admit it, that's what's cool, that's what's hot, that's what's sexy. That's why we all watch SportsCenter. We want to see running and jumping, and I know every single one of these guys, if they can't dunk right now, that's probably their #1 goal in life. And I get it. And I'm going to give you guys, and I'm going to do some drills with them that will help your players run a lot faster and jump a lot higher. But what's so important that we impart on our young people is that athleticism is so much more than just running and jumping. Balance, for example. Every single skill in the game of basketball, especially the skill of shooting, drastically decreases when a player is off balance. So getting players to get in, stay in, and move from a position of balance is extremely important. Basketball is played at a very fast pace, but it's not a speed game. I could line these guys up right now on this baseline, and whoever could sprint to the other baseline the fastest means nothing in the game of basketball. Absolutely nothing. Basketball is about starting and stopping. It's about changing direction. It's about reaction. It's about acceleration and deceleration. So these are just some of the traits that we need to make sure we're working with our players on a year-round basis to improve so that we can build that complete player. And if you go back to that pyramid, the base level, the foundation is how a player moves. That's the part that I'm here to share, is their movement efficiency and their athleticism. Excuse me. The next level is their skill, which if you're a coach, that's what you work on is skill. Shooting, passing, rebounding, defending, and handling the ball. Because let's admit, it does not matter how fast, how high they can jump, and all of their other traits of athleticism. If they can't shoot, pass, rebound, defend, or handle the ball, they're not very good basketball players. They might be great athletes, but they're not good basketball players. As we continue to work our way up the pyramid, the next one, which again you guys also heavily influence, is their mind, is their brain, is their basketball IQ. Do they know how to play the game? Do they know how to use their athleticism? If they don't, then again, that will negate their athleticism and skill. And then the very top of the pyramid is the one area that I think we actually have the least impact on. It has to come from them, and that's their heart. That's their grit. That's their motor. That's how bad they want it. I know everyone here has worked with a player that you've wanted it for them much more than they've wanted it for themselves. Now we can inspire them, and we can model, and we can and motivate, but at the end of the day, either they're going to want to be the best player they can be, or they won't. And when you find the players that do, then it's our job to give them the blueprint to be as successful as possible. My goal for today is to simply share. I want to share with you guys what has worked really well for me over the last 20 years. I'm too young to have invented anything in this game. So everything that I do has been stolen, borrowed, tweaked from somewhere else. And I'm okay with that. That's why I share everything, because none of it was mine to begin with. And I believe as coaches, it's our job to share with each other to raise and elevate the game. At the end of the day, if you're doing this for the right reasons, the reason we do everything is to help young people and is to make them better. So if I have a good idea that I think will help players, why would I not want to share it with you? I want you to use that with your players. With that being said, keep in mind that all I'm doing is sharing. I'm not here to tell you that my way is right. I'm not here to tell you that my way is the best. I'm simply here to tell you I'm going to show you what has worked for me. And all I ask you to do is look at everything with an open mind, understand the how and the why behind it. If for any reason you don't do the how, you don't understand the how and the why, that's my failure to communicate with you. Make sure you ask a question during the Q&A and I will clear that up. Then you decide whether or not these are things that fit with your philosophy and in your convictions. Do you believe the stuff that I'm telling you? Because you should never, ever coach anything or teach anything that you don't believe in. I know I don't. The only stuff that I do is the stuff that I believe in. And then once you've done that, I would hope that you take an open mind and you figure out ways to tweak, and you figure out ways to alter. So if I show you guys 20 drills today, if you put your thinking caps on and you use your creativity and imagination, you should leave here with 60 new drills, not 20, because you should say, hey, I like that drill Coach Stein did, but what if we did it this way? What if I changed the foot position? What if I change? And you should be able to take anything I share with you and change it. With that being said, that means our goal as coaches is to simply fill up our exercise toolbox. I want you guys to have as many different exercises and drills at your disposal at any time. And then with your experience as a coach, you will pick, just like out of a menu when you're ordering food, which drills are appropriate to do and when. Speaking of drills, ultimately, our job as coaches is to improve skills, not get kids good at doing drills. There's a big difference. I can set up some cones and have them dribble around them, and if we do that every day for 2 months, they'll get really good at dribbling around cones. I mean, really good. But if that doesn't transfer to 5-on-5 play, if that doesn't make them better when they're playing in the games, then it's a colossal waste of time. So everything we're doing is trying to improve skills, the skills needed on the court, but using transferable and appropriate drills are a great way to do that. Now, what will make today a little bit different, and just for the record, I did take these guys through about, I don't know, maybe 70 minutes worth of stuff yesterday, and we did film it, and Simon and I will get together and figure out a way that if you guys want access to that film to see what you didn't see yesterday, we're happy to share that. We want to give that to you, because I'm not going to repeat one single thing today that I did yesterday. I promised those guys that I would give them all new stuff. So if you want the entire platform that we did, Simon and I will figure out a way to get that to you. Today, what makes today a little bit different than a normal workout is, since I've already established I only come to Germany every 40 years, I want to give you guys as many things as I can before I leave. So in a normal workout, we might pick 5 or 6 exercises and do them for 2 or 3 sets each. Today, I'm only going to do a couple of reps of each exercise and then move on to the next thing, so I can share as many things with you. So keep in mind that what you're about to see is for your benefit. I'm here to serve you. This is not necessarily a workout per se for them. They're going to get in good work, but as soon as I think I've shared exactly what you guys need to see to understand the drill, I will move on to the next thing. Now, I'll do things in a very sequential order. We'll start with an appropriate warm-up, and then we'll transition to everything else that we're going to do. Each section will have a focus, and I'll explain that to you. One thing that I want to make sure you leave here with, your warm-up is extremely important. Your warm-up is vital to getting your players mentally and physically prepared to compete at the highest level. So if you don't leave here with anything else, leave here with this concept. You should treat your warm-up like a mini workout. You should approach that 8 to 10 to 12 to 15 minute block like that is a workout in and of itself. And when I had that mind shift several years ago, it changed everything I did. I don't want you to look at the warm-up as a time filler, as fluff, as just something you're supposed to do before you play. If you look at it as just a time filler, then you're simply wasting time. And time is the most valuable asset we have. So you should never waste your own time. You certainly shouldn't waste anybody else's time. So you should take that 10-minute block and say, how much quality, basketball-specific, movement-based work can we get in this 10 minutes? And I promise you, as a coach, it'll be a great investment. One, you'll be daily working on your players' athleticism and movement, which will help them perform at a higher level. But 2, it will make sure that the start of your practices and games are at a much higher level, and your players will be much more mentally and physically prepared to compete. If you have to spend the first 30 minutes of doing your drills, kind of kicking your guys in the butt and getting them excited and sweating and ready to move, you're wasting time. All of that can and should be accomplished in the warm-up. Now, one thing, and we noticed this yesterday, these guys are not going to do everything perfectly today. Your players are not going to do everything perfectly. Cool thing about the game of basketball, in the history of the game, there has never been a perfect game played. Ever. There has never been a game that had 0 missed shots, 0 turnovers. It's never happened and it never will. I tell our players all the time, we're not looking for perfection. What we're looking for is progress. What I expect you to do is everything with your best effort and full focus, do the best that you can, and make progress. So if you're making one mistake, don't keep making that same mistake over and over. Let's make progress. But they won't do things perfectly. I will do my best to coach them up while we're doing this so that you guys can see how you'll need to coach your players up. Sound good? Any questions that you have, simply write them down. You'll see that I'll stay pretty focused on the players for the next couple of hours. If we do take little breaks and you want to shout something out, again, my only reason for being here is to serve you guys. All right, we'll start with a warm-up. So my guys that participated, each player grab a ball